My name is Noah Bennett. I'm 28 years old, and I work as a graphic designer in Riverside, Illinois. I design logos for small businesses, lay out brochures, sometimes build websites. It's not glamorous, but it's mine. I work from my apartment downtown, a one-bedroom with exposed brick and a view of the railroad tracks. I make enough to pay rent, buy decent coffee, and not answer to anyone. 3 days ago, my father died. George Bennett, 58 years old, heart attack. No warning signs, no chance to say goodbye. I got the call at 2 a.m. I was asleep, dreaming about something I can't remember now, when my phone buzzed on the nightstand. I grabbed it, half awake, and saw the name on the screen, Marla, my stepmom. I hadn't spoken to her in 4 months, not since the last time I visited the house and she made it clear I wasn't welcome. But I answered, because when someone calls at 2 a.m., it's never good news. Noah. Her voice was flat, distant, like she was reading from a script. Your father passed away tonight. Heart attack. He didn't make it to the hospital. The funeral is Friday at St. Mark's. I'll text you the details. And then she hung up. No. I'm sorry. No. Are you okay? No. We'll get through this together. Just logistics, like she was confirming a meeting. I sat there in the dark, phone still pressed to my ear, and felt the world tilt. My dad was gone, and the first person to tell me didn't even sound sad. I should have known then. I should have seen it coming, but I was too destroyed to notice. The next 3 days were a blur. I called my boss, told him I needed time off. I bought a black suit from a department store because the only one I owned didn't fit anymore. I drove to Riverside, 40 minutes from the city, and checked into a motel because I couldn't bring myself to stay at the house that used to be mine. That stopped feeling like home the day Marla moved in. Friday morning, I put on the suit and drove to St. Mark's Church. It was a beautiful building, old stone with stained glass windows and a bell tower that chimed every hour. My dad had been going there for 30 years. He helped build the community center out back. He donated every Christmas. He never missed a Sunday service, even when he was exhausted from work. The parking lot was full. I recognized some of the cars, people from the neighborhood, from the business, from the church. I walked inside, and the smell hit me first. Flowers. Too many flowers. Lilies and roses, and something else I couldn't name, all arranged in neat rows around a dark wood casket at the front of the room. The room was packed. Co-workers from Bennett Property Maintenance, the small company my dad had built from nothing. Neighbors who'd known him for decades. Church members in their Sunday best. My Aunt Linda in the third row, already crying, a tissue pressed to her face. And Marla. She stood at the front, near the casket, dressed head to toe in black. A tailored dress, tasteful jewelry, hair pulled back in a neat bun. She looked like the grieving widow from a movie, composed, elegant, heartbroken in all the right ways. She was talking to Pastor Cole, her hand on his arm, nodding solemnly as he spoke. She didn't look at me when I walked in. I made my way to the casket, past rows of people who nodded or whispered condolences. I didn't respond. I couldn't. My dad was there, in the casket, hands folded across his chest. He looked smaller than I remembered. His face was pale, waxy, wrong. He was wearing a suit I didn't recognize, probably something Marla picked out. And his left hand, the one that should have had his wedding ring from my mom, was bare. She'd taken it off. I stood there, staring, my throat so tight I thought I'd choke. I wanted to say something. I wanted to tell him I was sorry. Sorry I moved out. Sorry I stopped visiting. Sorry I let her drive a wedge between us because it was easier than fighting. But the words wouldn't come. I just stood there, silent, my hands shaking, until I felt a presence behind me. Step aside, Noah. People are waiting. Marla's voice, sweet as honey in front of the crowd, but cold underneath. I turned. She was right there, barely a foot away, her eyes hard. There's a line, she said, louder now, so people could hear. You've had your moment. I looked past her. There was no line, just a few people standing awkwardly near the pews. But I moved anyway, because I didn't have the energy to fight. Not there. Not then. The service started 10 minutes later. Pastor Cole spoke first, reading from the Bible, talking about faith and eternal rest and God's plan. Then Marla got up. She walked to the podium, tissue in hand, and looked out at the crowd with red-rimmed eyes. George Bennett was the love of my life, she began, her voice trembling just enough to sound genuine. He was a man of faith, a man of integrity, a man who gave everything to everyone around him. He built a business with his own 2 hands. He supported this church. He loved this community. She paused, dabbing her eyes. And he loved me. For 12 years we stood side by side, through good times and bad, through sickness and health. He was my rock, my partner, my everything. She didn't mention me, not once, not as his son, not as the kid he raised alone for 3 years after my mom died, not as the person who used to sit next to him in the truck on Saturday mornings, learning how to fix leaky faucets and rewire outlets. I was erased. The service ended. People filed into the church hall for the reception. Casseroles and coffee and quiet conversations. I stood by the window, staring out at the parking lot, trying to hold myself together. And then I heard her. Marla's voice, loud and sharp, cutting through the low murmur of the room. He's gone now. And you, she pointed at me, her finger like a weapon, are not family here. The room went silent. Every conversation stopped. Every head turned. Marla stood in the center of the hall, her face flushed, her eyes locked on mine. You didn't visit, she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. You didn't call. You haven't been part of this family in years, so don't you dare come here now, pretending you care, hoping for some kind of payout. My chest tightened, my hands clenched into fists. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell everyone in that room that I stopped visiting because she made me feel like a stranger in my own father's house, that every Sunday dinner was a performance where she played the loving wife and I played the ungrateful son, that she erased every trace of my mother from that house the second she moved in. But I couldn't. Not there. Not in front of my dad's casket. So I turned, and I walked out. Behind me, I heard her voice again, softer now, meant for the people around her. He's always been like that. Ungrateful. I made it to my car before the tears came. I sat in the driver's seat, hands gripping the steering wheel, and sobbed. My dad was gone. And the last thing anyone at his funeral would remember was Marla calling me the problem. But I didn't know yet. I didn't know that she'd already started covering her tracks, that she'd torn apart his office looking for something, that the woman who just played grieving widow in front of 50 people had been stealing from him for years. I didn't know that my dad had seen it all, documented it, and made sure I'd have the last word. If you've ever been publicly humiliated by someone who claimed to love your family, keep watching, because what happens next will change everything. I need you to understand something before this story goes any further. I didn't grow up hating Marla Bennett. I grew up desperately trying to earn her approval. My mother died when I was 9 years old. Breast cancer, stage 4 by the time they caught it. She fought for 18 months, but in the end, the cancer won. I remember sitting in the hospital room, holding her hand, my dad on the other side of the bed with his head bowed, and her telling me, "Take care of your dad, Noah. He's going to need you." I tried. God, I tried. For 3 years, it was just the two of us. Dad threw himself into work. Bennett property maintenance was still small back then, just him and 2 guys running residential repairs, and I learned how to be self-sufficient. I made my own breakfast, did my own laundry, kept the house clean because I knew Dad was exhausted. On weekends, he'd take me on jobs. I'd hand him tools, hold the flashlight, learn how to snake a drain or patch drywall. He'd buy me lunch afterward, always burgers from the same diner on Route 34, and we'd sit in the truck, eating and talking about nothing important. Those were good years. Hard, but good. And then he met Marla. She worked at St. Mark's as the volunteer event coordinator. She organized the church picnics, the charity drives, the holiday fundraisers. Everyone loved her. She was warm, energetic, always smiling. She'd hug you like you were family even if she'd just met you. Dad met her at a church barbecue. I was 12. He came home that night and told me he'd had a nice conversation with a very kind woman. 6 months later, they were married. I was 13 by then, old enough to understand that Dad was lonely, that he deserved to be happy again. And Marla seemed nice. She brought cookies to the house before they started dating. She asked me about school. She laughed at my dumb jokes. I wanted to like her. I wanted her to like me. At first, it seemed like she did. She'd make pancakes on Sunday mornings and ask if I wanted chocolate chips or blueberries. She'd rent movies for the 3 of us to watch together. She'd even come to my basketball games, cheering from the stands next to Dad. But slowly, things changed. Small things at first. Little comments that felt like paper cuts. "Don't leave your shoes by the door, Noah. This isn't your dad's bachelor pad anymore. We're having guests tonight. Maybe you could eat dinner in your room so the adults can talk. Your dad's been working so hard. Don't bother him with your homework problems. Figure it out yourself." I told myself she was just adjusting, that blending a family was hard, that I needed to be patient. But the comments kept coming. By the time I was 16, I wasn't George's son anymore. I was the kid from the first marriage. Marla never said it directly, but I heard it in the way she introduced me to her friends, in the way she'd sigh when I asked Dad for help with something, in the way she redecorated the entire house. New furniture, new paint, knew everything, and boxed up every photo of my mom without asking. I came home from school one day and found the living room transformed. The couch where Mom used to read to me, gone. The bookshelf Dad built for her, replaced with something sleek and modern. The framed photo of the three of us at the beach, nowhere to be seen. I asked Marlo where it went. She smiled. I put it in a box in the attic, sweetie. It's time to move forward, don't you think? I didn't say anything. I just went upstairs, closed my door, and cried. Dad never noticed. Or maybe he did, and he didn't know what to say. He was busy. The business was growing. He was working 12-hour days, coming home exhausted, and Marla was always there with dinner on the table, the house spotless, a smile on her face. She played the perfect wife, and I became the problem. When I turned 18 and told Dad I wanted to move out for college, he looked sad but didn't argue. "I'm proud of you, son," he said, hugging me tight. "You're going to do great things." Marla stood in the doorway, arms crossed, smiling. She'd won. I moved into a dorm 2 hours away, then into an apartment in the city after graduation. I called Dad every week, sent him texts, visited on holidays, but every time I came back, it felt worse. Marla would make little comments at dinner. "Still single, Noah? You're 25 now. Shouldn't you be settling down?" Or, "Graphic design, that's cute, but it's not exactly stable, is it?" Dad would sit there, quiet, stuck in the middle. So I started coming back less. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Dad's birthday if I could manage it. And then, 3 months ago, Dad called me out of nowhere. It was a Tuesday night. I was working late, finishing a logo redesign for a client. My phone rang, Dad's name on the screen. "Hey, Dad, everything okay?" "Yeah, son, everything's fine. He paused. "I just wanted to hear your voice." We talked for 20 minutes, about nothing important, work, the weather, a new truck he was thinking about buying, but his voice sounded tired, sad. I should have asked if something was wrong. I didn't. And now he's gone, and I'll never get the chance. The day after the funeral, I drove back to the house. I didn't want to. Every instinct told me to stay away, to let Marla have her victory, to go back to my apartment and try to move on. But I couldn't, because there were things in that house that belonged to me. Photos of my mom, my dad's work jacket, the one with Bennett Property Maintenance stitched on the chest, a wooden toolbox he'd given me when I turned 16, my initials carved into the lid. I needed those things. I needed something that still felt like him. I still had a key. Dad gave it to me when I moved out, said I'd always have a place to come home to. I hadn't used it in over a year. I pulled into the driveway at 10 a.m. Marla's car was gone. The house was silent. I unlocked the front door and stepped inside. The air smelled stale, like old coffee and something floral I couldn't place. The living room looked the same as always. Marla's taste everywhere. Nothing left of the family that lived here before her. I climbed the stairs to the second floor. My old bedroom door was closed. I didn't open it. I didn't want to see what she'd turned it into. Instead, I went to Dad's office. The door was ajar. I pushed it open, and my stomach dropped. The room was destroyed. Drawers pulled out, papers scattered across the floor. The filing cabinet in the corner had every drawer hanging open, folders spilling out. Dad's desk, normally neat, everything labeled and organized, looked like someone had torn through it in a panic. Books pulled off shelves, loose documents everywhere. Even the closet door was open, boxes tipped over, contents dumped. Someone had searched this room, thoroughly, desperately. I stood in the doorway, frozen, my chest tight. Dad was meticulous. He labeled everything, color-coded his files, kept client contracts in one drawer, financial statements in another, tax documents in a locked cabinet. This wasn't grief. This wasn't someone looking for closure. This was someone looking for something specific and trying to hide the evidence. I stepped inside, carefully, and started picking up papers. Bank statements from 2 years ago, invoices for jobs long finished, a contract with a commercial client in downtown Riverside, old tax returns, but nothing recent. No financial documents from the last 6 months, no contracts signed this year, no records of current projects. Those files were gone. I knelt down, sorting through the mess, and that's when I saw it. On the desk, half hidden under an overturned lamp, a small yellow sticky note in my dad's handwriting. 3 words. Walter knows. Trust him. Walter Hughes, the family accountant. Dad had been using him for 20 years, ever since he started the business. Walter did the taxes, managed payroll, reviewed quarterly financials. He was one of the few people Dad trusted completely. I pulled out my phone and found Walter's number in my contacts. I hadn't called him in years, But Dad had given it to me once. Said, "If anything ever happens to me, Walter knows where everything is." I hit dial. He answered on the second ring. Hughes and Partners. "Mr. Hughes, it's Noah. Noah Bennett." A pause. "Noah." His voice softened. "I've been waiting for your call." "You have?" "Yes. We need to talk, but not over the phone. Can you come to my office tomorrow? 10 a.m. Yeah, I can do that." "Good. And Noah?" "Yeah? Don't tell Marla." The line went dead. I stood there in the wreckage of my father's office, phone still in my hand, and felt the first spark of something I hadn't felt since the funeral. Not just sadness, not just grief, anger. Walter Hughes's office was on the second floor of a narrow brick building on Main Street, above a coffee shop called Brewed Awakening. The sign outside read, "Hughes and Partners Accounting, serving Riverside since 1987," in faded gold letters. I parked on the street and climbed the exterior staircase. The door at the top was unlocked. A small waiting area greeted me. 2 chairs, a coffee table stacked with old magazines, and a reception desk where a woman in her 60s sat typing. "Noah Bennett?" she asked without looking up. "Yes, ma'am." "Walter's expecting you. Go on in." She gestured to a door on the left. I knocked once and opened it. Walter Hughes sat behind a large wooden desk piled with folders, a computer monitor, and a coffee mug that said, "World's Okayest Accountant." He was 67, silver-haired, with sharp blue eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He wore a button-down shirt and a tie, sleeves rolled up to his elbows. He stood when I entered and extended a hand. "Noah, thank you for coming." His grip was firm, warm. "Have a seat." I sat in the chair across from him. The office smelled like old paper and coffee. Framed certifications hung on the walls, CPA licenses, community service awards, a photo of Walter shaking hands with the mayor. Walter didn't waste time. "Your father came to see me 4 months ago, early June. He was worried." "Worried about what?" Walter opened a folder on his desk and slid a printout toward me. Money. Specifically, money that was disappearing from Bennett Property Maintenance. I stared at the page. It was a financial summary, broken down by month, revenue, expenses, net income, and highlighted in yellow, discrepancies. What am I looking at? Unauthorized transfers, payments to vendors your father didn't recognize, petty cash withdrawals with no receipts. It started small, 500 here, 1,000 there. But in the last 6 months, it escalated. My hands felt cold. "How much?" Walter leaned back in his chair. $83,400. I felt sick. 83,000? Yes. And my dad knew? He suspected. But he didn't have proof. Not at first. Marla handled the bookkeeping. She had access to all the accounts. Your father trusted her. I sat back, trying to process. Why didn't he confront her? Walter's expression darkened. Because he was afraid. Not of losing the money, of losing you. What? He thought if he accused her without solid evidence, she'd turn it into a war. She'd twist the narrative, paint him as paranoid or controlling. And he was terrified you'd get caught in the middle, that you'd be forced to choose sides. I felt my throat tighten. So what did he do? He came to me, asked me to conduct a quiet audit. No official filings, just an internal review to see if his suspicions were correct. And he changed his will. My heart stopped. Changed it how? Walter pulled another folder from a drawer and set it on the desk. Your father created a supplemental directive, a final section to his will. It's currently with Carter and Associates, the law firm downtown. And he left very explicit instructions. The will must be read publicly, with witnesses present. Why public? Walter smiled, grim. Because he knew Marla would try to bury it. She spent 12 years building a reputation in this town. The devoted wife, the church volunteer, the woman who sacrificed her career to support her husband. If the will was read privately, she could control the story. Cry, play the victim, claim you manipulated him. He tapped the folder. But in front of family, church members, business partners, in front of people who've known your father for decades, she can't lie her way out of that. I stared at the folder, my mind racing. When's the reading? This Friday, 10 a.m. Your Aunt Linda's been notified, so have Pastor Cole, Frank Delgado, your dad's business partner, and 3 members of the church board. Does Marla know? She knows there's a will. She doesn't know what's in it. Walter slid the folder toward me. This is the preliminary audit report. Your father authorized it 2 weeks before he died. I've documented everything. Falsified invoices, shell vendor accounts, transfers to a personal account in Marla's name. I opened the folder. Page after page of financial records. Highlighted discrepancies. Notes in my dad's handwriting. March 12th, M withdrew $2,400, claimed equipment purchase. No receipts provided. April 8th, payment to Sunrise Cleaning Solutions, $1,800. No contract on file. Called vendor. Number disconnected. May 22, asked Em about missing petty cash. She cried. Said I didn't trust her. That last one broke me. He'd tried. And she'd manipulated him. Turned it around. Made him feel guilty for asking. He knew, I whispered. He knew. And he spent the last 4 months of his life protecting you. I looked up at Walter, tears blurring my vision. Why didn't he tell me? Walter's voice was gentle. Because he loved you, Noah. And he didn't want you to carry this burden until he was absolutely certain. He wanted to give you proof, not suspicion. Proof. I sat there, staring at the audit report, my hands shaking. Friday. The will reading. Marla thought she'd won, thought she'd erased me, thought she'd walk away with everything. She had no idea what was coming. Thank you, I said quietly. Walter nodded. Your father was a good man, one of the best I've ever known, and he made sure you'd be taken care of. I left Walter's office with the audit report tucked under my arm and a fire burning in my chest. 3 more days, and then the truth would come out. The 3 days between my meeting with Walter and the will reading felt like the longest of my life. I didn't go back to the house. I stayed in my apartment in the city, but I couldn't focus on anything. Work emails piled up. Client deadlines came and went. I sat at my desk, staring at my computer screen, and couldn't make myself care about logo revisions or website layouts. All I could think about was Friday. I read through the audit report a dozen times. Every page, every highlighted line, every note in my dad's handwriting. The patterns were clear. Marla had been siphoning money for 2 years. Small amounts at first, just under the threshold that would raise red flags. 500 here, 1,000 there. Payments to vendors that didn't exist. Petty cash withdrawals with forged signatures. And then, 6 months ago, she got bolder. Larger transfers, fake invoices for consulting services, and equipment rentals. Payments to shell companies with P.O. box addresses. Dad had documented all of it. I found a handwritten note tucked into the back of the folder, dated 2 months before he died. Talked to Em again today about the Morrison invoice. She got defensive, said I was accusing her of lying, started crying. I backed off. But I know what I saw. The vendor doesn't exist. Walter confirmed it. I need to protect Noah. Can't let her take everything we built. I sat on my couch, holding that note, and cried. He'd known. He'd seen through her manipulation. And instead of confronting her head-on, instead of risking a public fight, he'd quietly built a case. Because he knew she'd twist it, knew she'd make him the villain, knew she'd try to turn me against him. So he made sure the truth would come out when she couldn't control it. On Wednesday night, I called Aunt Linda. Noah, honey, how are you doing? I'm okay. Did you get the notice about the will reading? I did. Friday at 10. I'll be there. Good. I need you to be there, Aunt Linda. Her voice softened. What's going on, Noah? I can't explain yet, but you need to be there. And don't tell Marla we talked. I won't. But Noah, you're scaring me. Don't be scared. Just trust me, okay? Okay. Thursday, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, running through every possible scenario. What if Marla had a lawyer? What if she contested the will? What if she'd already started spinning the story, painting me as the greedy son who abandoned his father? But then I remembered Walter's words. The will is ironclad, and the reading is public. She can't lie her way out of that. Friday morning, I woke up at 6. I showered, shaved, and put on the same black suit I'd worn to the funeral. I stood in front of the mirror, adjusting my tie, and barely recognized myself. I looked older, harder, like someone who'd been through hell and come out the other side with something to prove. I drove to Riverside in silence. No music, no podcasts, just the sound of the engine and my own thoughts. By the time I pulled into the parking lot of Carter & Associates, my hands were shaking. The law firm was in a 3-story brick building downtown, with a polished brass sign out front. I walked through the glass doors and took the elevator to the 2nd floor. The receptionist directed me to a conference room at the end of the hall. The door was open. People were already inside. Aunt Linda sitting near the window clutching a tissue. Frank Delgado, Dad's business partner, standing with his arms crossed, looking grim. Pastor Cole, seated at the table, his face serious. 3 members of the church board, Mrs. Patterson, Mr. Lawson, and Mrs. Chen, all looking uncomfortable. And Marla. She sat at the head of the table, dressed in black, her makeup perfect, a box of tissues in front of her. When I walked in, her eyes flicked to me, cold, dismissive. Noah, she said flatly, I'm surprised you came. Wouldn't miss it. I took a seat near Aunt Linda. She reached over and squeezed my hand. A moment later, the lawyer entered. Mr. Carter, mid-50s, gray suit, no-nonsense expression. He carried a leather folder and a sealed envelope. He closed the door behind him and sat at the head of the table, across from Marla. "Thank you all for coming," he began. "We're here today to execute the last will and testament of George Allen Bennett. This reading is being conducted per his explicit request, publicly, with witnesses present." Marla straightened in her chair, confident, like she already knew how this would end. Mr. Carter opened the folder. "Let's begin." Mr. Carter adjusted his reading glasses and began. "I, George Allen Bennett, being of sound mind and body, do hereby declare this to be my last will and testament, executed on August 14th of this year." August, 2 months before he died. Marla dabbed her eyes with a tissue. Pastor Cole bowed his head slightly, respectful. Aunt Linda gripped my hand tighter. Mr. Carter continued. "To my beloved wife, Marla Bennett, I leave the contents of our joint savings account, currently valued at $12,300, as well as personal effects as outlined in our prenuptial agreement." Marla's head snapped up. "Prenuptial?" Mr. Carter didn't look up. "Yes, Mrs. Bennett, the prenuptial agreement you signed on June 3rd, 12 years ago, prior to your marriage. You received a copy at that time." Her face flushed. "I don't remember signing." "It's on file, ma'am. Notarized and legally binding." She sat back, jaw clenched. Mr. Carter turned the page. "To my sister, Linda Marsh, I leave my mother's jewelry collection and all family photo albums, with deep gratitude for her unwavering love and support." Aunt Linda let out a soft sob. "To Frank Delgado, my business partner and friend of 20 years, I leave my personal tool set and my work vehicle, with thanks for his loyalty and partnership." Frank nodded, his expression serious. "And now," Mr. Carter said, his tone shifting slightly, "we come to the primary estate." Marla leaned forward, confident. This was it. She thought she'd won. Mr. Carter read slowly, deliberately. "To my son, Noah Alexander Bennett, I leave the following: full ownership of Bennett Property Maintenance, including all assets, client contracts, equipment, and intellectual property, to be held in trust and managed by him upon his 30th birthday, or immediately should he choose to assume operations prior to that date." The room went silent. Marla's face drained of color. "What?" Mr. Carter continued, ignoring her. "I also leave to Noah the family home located at 428 Maple Street, Riverside, Illinois, along with all property, land, and structures therein. Furthermore, I authorize an independent audit of all company finances for the past 3 years, to be conducted by Hughes and Partners Accounting, with results to be shared with Noah Bennett and relevant authorities as deemed necessary." Marla shot to her feet. "That's insane! George wouldn't... He couldn't. This is a mistake." "Mrs. Bennett, please sit down." "No! This is wrong. George and I built that business together. I handled the books, I managed the office, I sacrificed everything." "Mrs. Bennett," Mr. Carter's voice was sharp, "there is a final section. I strongly suggest you hear it before making further statements." Marla sat, trembling with rage and something else, fear. Mr. Carter pulled a sealed envelope from the folder. He opened it carefully, revealing several handwritten pages encased in protective plastic. Mr. Bennett requested that this letter be read aloud, in front of all witnesses. These are his words, written in his own hand. He began. "To everyone gathered here today, first, I want to apologize for the secrecy. I know this isn't easy, but I need you to understand why I made the choices I did. For the past 2 years, I've watched money disappear from my company. At first, I told myself I was imagining it, that I'd made a mistake in the books, that I was just tired and not paying attention. But I wasn't imagining it. Money was being stolen, invoices were being falsified, vendors that didn't exist were being paid, and the person doing it had access to everything. My wife, Marla. I didn't want to believe it. I loved her. I trusted her. I gave her control of the finances because I thought we were partners, but Walter Hughes helped me see the truth. We conducted a quiet audit, and what we found was undeniable. $83,400, gone over 2 years. Fake vendors, forged receipts, transfers to a personal account in Marla's name. I confronted her once. She cried, told me I didn't trust her, made me feel like I was the one in the wrong. So I stopped asking, but I didn't stop documenting. I did this because I had to protect my son. Noah, if you're hearing this, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I wasn't braver when you were younger. I'm sorry I let her make you feel unwelcome in your own home. I saw it happening, and I didn't stop it because I was afraid of conflict, but I'm not afraid anymore. You are my son. You are my family. and I'm leaving you everything because I trust you to protect what we built. Marla, if you're hearing this, know that I gave you chances. I asked you to be honest. You chose lies. This is my final protection for the son I love. To everyone else, please support Noah. He didn't ask for this, but he deserves it. Thank you. George Bennett. The room was silent. Pastor Cole stared at Marla, his face pale. Aunt Linda covered her mouth, tears streaming. Frank looked at me, something like pride in his eyes. Mrs. Patterson from the church board whispered, "Oh my God." And Marla? She sat frozen, her face a mask of shock, fury, disbelief. Mr. Carter folded the letter carefully and set it aside. That concludes the reading of the will. Mrs. Bennett, the audit referenced in Mr. Bennett's letter is already complete. Results will be shared with Mr. Noah Bennett within 5 business days. If you have questions regarding your portion of the estate, you may contact this office. But the will is legally binding and will not be contested. Marla's voice was barely a whisper. This is slander. It's documentation, ma'am. He was sick. He wasn't thinking clearly. Mr. Bennett was evaluated by 2 independent physicians before signing this will. Both certified him as mentally competent. The will is valid. Marla looked around the room, desperate, searching for an ally. No one met her eyes. She grabbed her purse and stood, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. "This isn't over," she hissed, and then she walked out. The door slammed behind her. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Aunt Linda stood, came over, and wrapped me in a hug. "Your dad loved you so much, Noah," she whispered, crying. So much. I couldn't speak. I just held on. I don't remember much about the hour after Marla left. People came up to me. Pastor Cole, his face grave, apologizing for not seeing it sooner. Frank offering to help transition the business. Mrs. Patterson, squeezing my shoulder and saying, "Your father was a brave man." I nodded, shook hands, said thank you over and over until the words lost meaning. But I felt numb. Mr. Carter handed me a copy of the will and the audit summary in a manila folder. "The house is yours, Noah. Marla has 30 days to vacate per the terms of the prenup. If she refuses, we'll pursue legal eviction, but I don't think it'll come to that. She knows she's exposed. What about the business? It's yours immediately if you choose to take control. Otherwise, it remains in trust until you're 30. Frank Delgado has been named interim manager in the event you're not ready." "I'll take it," I said. Mr. Carter nodded. "Then I'll file the paperwork this week. You'll have full legal authority by Monday." Aunt Linda insisted I come to her house for lunch. I didn't want to, but I also didn't want to be alone. We sat at her kitchen table, me, her, and Frank. She made sandwiches I barely touched. "I should have said something," Aunt Linda said quietly. "Years ago, I saw how she treated you, Noah. The little comments, the way she made you feel small. I told myself it wasn't my place, that George seemed happy, but I should have spoken up. It's not your fault." "It is. I let it happen." Frank spoke up. "Your dad didn't let it happen. He fixed it." I looked at him. "He protected you the only way he knew how," Frank continued, quietly, methodically. "He didn't want a public fight. He just wanted to make sure you were safe. He shouldn't have had to do it alone." "Maybe not," Frank said. "But he did. And now you have everything you need to move forward." That night, I went back to my apartment. I sat on my couch with the audit report and read every page again. $83,000. Fake vendors with names like Riverside Maintenance Solutions and Summit Cleaning Co. Addresses that led to P.O. boxes. Phone numbers that were disconnected or went to voicemail. And a personal checking account in Marla's name, opened 2 years ago at First National Bank, with deposits that matched the stolen amounts almost exactly. My dad had built an airtight case. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You poisoned him against me. You're just like your mother, selfish and bitter. This isn't over." Marla. I stared at the message for a long time, then I blocked the number. I wasn't going to engage, wasn't going to defend myself. The truth was out, and there was nothing she could say to change it. I opened my laptop and searched for information on taking over a family business, articles on LLC transfers, client communication strategies, employee management. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was going to learn, because I wasn't going to let her take this from me. Not the business, not the house, not my father's legacy. Over the next 48 hours, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Marla called 6 times on Saturday. I didn't answer. She left voicemails, first angry, then pleading, then threatening again. "You have no idea what you've done, Noah. I'll fight this. I'll prove he was manipulated. Noah, please, just call me back. We can work this out. I know we've had our issues, but I loved your father. We can figure this out. You're going to regret this." I have friends in this town. I have lawyers. You think you've won, but you haven't. I deleted everyone. Then the text started. From her phone, from numbers I didn't recognize. You're destroying my reputation. The church is turning on me because of your lies. I gave up everything for your father, and this is how you repay me? I blocked them all. But the calls didn't just come from Marla. Suddenly, people I hadn't heard from in years started reaching out. Distant cousins, old neighbors, church members who'd never spoken to me before. Noah, I heard about the will. If you need anything, I'm here. Your dad was such a good man. I always thought you were a great son. If you need help with the business, I know some people who could advise you. I ignored most of them. I knew what they were doing, positioning themselves, trying to get on my good side now that I had something they thought was valuable. But one call I did answer. Frank. Noah, you got a minute? Yeah. What's up? I wanted to talk about Bennett Property Maintenance. Your dad and I ran it together for 20 years. I know the clients, the contracts, the crew. If you're serious about taking over, I want to help. I appreciate that. But here's the thing, Noah. You need to make a decision fast. If you step back, if you hesitate, Marla's going to use that. She'll claim the business is marital property, that she deserves a stake, that she's owed for years of unpaid labor. She signed a prenup. I know, but she'll try anyway. The best way to shut that down is to step in now. Take control. Show everyone, clients, employees, the court if it comes to that you're running the show. I was quiet for a moment. I don't know if I can do this, Frank. You can. And your dad believed you could. That's why he left it to you. After we hung up, I sat on my couch, staring at the ceiling. I'd spent the last 6 years building a freelance design career. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine. I set my own hours, chose my own clients, answered to no one. Taking over a property maintenance company meant giving that up. It meant managing employees, dealing with contracts, handling client complaints, running payroll. It meant stepping into my father's shoes. And I didn't know if I was ready. But then I thought about Marla, about the way she'd looked at me at the funeral, the way she'd said, "You are not family here," the way she'd tried to erase me. And I thought about my dad, sitting in his office, documenting every lie, every stolen dollar, every manipulative tear. He'd fought for me when I didn't even know I needed it. The least I could do was fight to keep what he'd built. I opened my laptop and pulled up the company financials Walter had sent me. Client list, active contracts, payroll schedules, vendor contacts. It was overwhelming. But buried in one folder, I found another video file, dated 3 months ago, titled, "For Noah, Part 2. My hands shook as I clicked it. The video opened on my dad's face. He looked tired, more tired than in the first video. His eyes were red-rimmed, his hair messy, like he hadn't slept. He was sitting in the same office, the same camera setup. He cleared his throat and began. Noah, if you're watching this, then the will's been read, and you know the truth. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. I wanted to tell you in person, but I was scared. Scared you'd try to confront her. Scared it would blow up before I had all the evidence. So I kept quiet, and I documented everything. By now, you've seen the audit. You know what she did. But I need you to understand something else. This isn't your fault. You didn't cause this. You didn't drive her to steal. You didn't make her treat you the way she did. She made those choices, and I made the choice to let it go on too long. I should have stood up for you when you were younger. I should have seen the way she pushed you out. I should have told her to stop, but I didn't. I told myself she just needed time to adjust, that blending a family was hard, that you were strong enough to handle it. And you were. You are. But you shouldn't have had to. So I'm fixing it now. The business is yours. The house is yours. And if Marla tries to fight it, Walter has everything you need to shut her down. But Noah, here's the thing I really need you to hear. You don't have to keep the business. I know what people will say, that it's your legacy, that you owe it to me to keep it running. But you don't. If you want to sell it, sell it. If you want to hand it over to Frank, do that. If you want to walk away and never think about property maintenance again, that's okay too. I'm giving you options, not obligations. The business is yours to do with what you want. The house is yours to live in or sell. I'm not controlling you from the grave, son. I'm setting you free. Free from her. Free from expectations. Free to build the life you want. Because you deserve that. You've always deserved that. I love you, Noah. I'm proud of you. And I'll always be proud of you. No matter what you choose. The screen went black. I sat there staring at my laptop, tears streaming down my face. He'd given me permission. Permission to let go. Permission to move on. Permission to choose my own path. But as I sat there wiping my eyes, I realized something. I didn't want to let go. Not because I felt obligated, not because I was trying to honor his memory, but because Marla had tried to take it, and I wasn't going to let her win. I closed my laptop, grabbed my phone, and called Frank. Frank, it's Noah. Hey, everything okay? Yeah, I've made a decision. Yeah? I'm taking over. Full control. I want to start Monday. There was a pause. Then Frank's voice, warm and steady. Your dad would be so proud, Noah. I hope so. I know so. I'll see you Monday morning. We'll go over everything. Thanks, Frank. Anytime, kid. I hung up and sat back. Monday. The start of something new. Or maybe, the start of something my dad had been building all along. If you've ever had to step up and claim something that was always yours, drop a comment. Because the next chapter, that's when things got real. Monday morning, I woke up at 6. I showered, dressed in jeans and a button-down shirt, business casual, the best I could do without a work uniform, and drove to Riverside. Bennett Property Maintenance operated out of a commercial space on the east side of town, a low brick building with a parking lot out front, 2 bay doors for the trucks, and a small office area inside. I'd been there a handful of times as a kid, back when Dad was just getting started, but I hadn't stepped foot in the building in over 5 years. I pulled into the parking lot at 7:30 a.m. Frank's truck was already there. I walked through the front door. The office was small but functional. A reception desk, currently empty. A few filing cabinets, a coffee maker, and 2 doors leading to private offices. Frank stood by the coffee maker, pouring 2 cups. Morning, Noah. Morning? He handed me a cup. Black, no sugar, just like Dad drank it. Wasn't sure you'd actually show. Neither was I. He smiled. Your dad used to say that every Monday. We stood there for a moment, silent, drinking coffee. Then Frank gestured to the back office. Come on, let's get you up to speed. We spent the next 2 hours going over everything. Active contracts, 12 residential clients, 3 commercial properties, scheduled jobs for the week, 2 HVAC installs, 1 plumbing repair at the church, a roof inspection for a downtown office building, payroll, 4 full-time crew members, 2 part-timers, vendors, suppliers for parts, equipment rental companies, insurance providers. It was overwhelming, but Frank walked me through it patiently, explaining each system, each process. Your dad built something solid here, he said. Good reputation, loyal clients. As long as you show up, do good work, and treat people right, they'll stick with you. And if they don't, then we rebuild, 1 job at a time. At 10:30 a.m., the crew started arriving for the morning briefing. 4 men, ranging in age from mid-20s to late 50s. I recognized 2 of them, Carlos and Miguel, brothers who'd worked for Dad for over a decade. Carlos stepped forward first. Noah, sorry about your dad, man. He was good to us. Thanks, Carlos. So, you're taking over? I am. He nodded slowly. All right. What do you need from us? Just keep doing what you're doing. Frank and I will handle the admin side. You guys handle the work. Miguel spoke up. What about Marla? The room went quiet. What about her? I asked. She used to come by, check on things, tell us what to do. She won't be doing that anymore. Carlos and Miguel exchanged a glance. Good, Carlos said. No offense, but she didn't know what she was talking about half the time. A few of the other guys chuckled. Frank clapped his hands. All right, let's get to it. Miguel, Carlos, you're on the church job. Finish the plumbing repair. Danny, Luis, HVAC install on Oakwood Drive. Noah and I will handle client check-ins. The crew grabbed their gear and headed out. And just like that, I was running a business. At 11 a.m., she showed up, Marla. I heard her voice before I saw her, sharp, insistent, coming from the front office. I need to speak to whoever's in charge here. I stepped out of the back office. She stood in the doorway, dressed in a cream blouse and dark jeans, her hair pulled back, makeup perfect. She looked every inch the respectable widow, until she saw me. Her expression turned cold. What are you doing here? Working. This is my company now. This is not your company. This is George's company, and I helped build it. You stole from it. Her face flushed. That's a lie. It's not. The audit's done, Marla. Walter sent me the full report. $83,400, fake vendors, forged receipts, personal transfers. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. You have no proof. I have signed affidavits from real vendors saying they never worked with us. I have bank records showing transfers to your personal account. And I have a letter from Dad in his own handwriting, explaining exactly what you did. Her jaw tightened. You're bluffing. Try me. For a long moment, she just stared. Then she smiled. Brittle, cold. You think you've won, but I have friends in this town, Noah. The church, the business community. People trust me. They trusted you, I said quietly. past tense. Her smile faltered. We'll see. She turned and walked out. The door slammed behind her. Frank stepped out of the office, arms crossed. She'll be back. I know. But Noah. I looked at him. Your dad would be really proud right now. That night, I sat in my apartment staring at my phone. Marla wasn't going to stop. I knew that. She'd spend the next weeks, maybe months, spinning the story, telling anyone who'd listen that I'd manipulated Dad, that he was confused, that I was stealing what was rightfully hers. And some people would believe her, because that's what she did. She was good at it. I called Walter. Noah, how'd the first day go? Fine, but Marla showed up. I figured she would. She's not going to let this go, Walter. She's going to twist the narrative, claim Dad was sick, that I manipulated him, that she deserves the business. So what do you want to do? I took a breath. I want to release the audit, publicly. Silence on the other end. You're sure? Yes. If I don't, she controls the story. But if the truth is out there, documented, verified, impossible to deny, she can't spin it. It's a bold move, Noah. Once it's out, there's no taking it back. I know. Walter was quiet for a moment. All right, I'll draft a summary. Professional, sanitized for legal purposes, but clear. You can distribute it to key stakeholders, clients, church leadership, anyone who needs to know. How long? Give me until tomorrow afternoon. Thank you, Walter. Your dad would be proud, Noah. He really would. By Wednesday afternoon, the summary was done. 2 pages. Professionally formatted on Hughes & Partners letterhead. Independent audit summary, Bennett Property Maintenance. It listed the findings in clinical, undeniable language. Unauthorized transfers totaling $83,400 over 24 months. 16 fake vendor accounts with disconnected contact information. Forged petty cash receipts with falsified signatures. Personal checking account in Marla Bennett's name, receiving company funds. Recommendation: refer findings to local authorities for further investigation. At the bottom, Walter had included a note. This audit was authorized by George Bennett prior to his death and conducted in accordance with standard accounting practices. All findings are documented and verifiable. I sent it to Frank, Aunt Linda, Pastor Cole, and the 3 church board members who'd been at the will reading. I also sent it to Bennett Property Maintenance's 3 largest commercial clients, properties that accounted for over 60% of our annual revenue. The responses came fast. Frank, this needed to happen. I'm with you. Aunt Linda. I'm so sorry you have to do this, Noah, but it's the right thing. Pastor Cole. I'll be reaching out to Marla directly. This is deeply troubling. And from one of the major clients, a property management company downtown. Noah, we've worked with your father for 15 years. He was a man of integrity. If you're taking over and maintaining that standard, we're staying. Let us know how we can support you. I sat back, exhaling. It was done. The truth was out, and there was no taking it back. That night, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. You just destroyed my life. I hope you're happy. Marla. I stared at the message. Part of me wanted to respond, to tell her that she'd destroyed her own life by stealing, by lying, by making my father's last months a nightmare of doubt and secrecy. But I didn't. I just blocked the number, because she didn't deserve my words. She didn't deserve my anger. She'd already taken enough. Sunday morning, I didn't go to church. I hadn't been to St. Mark's in over 2 years, and I wasn't about to start now. But Aunt Linda did. She called me at noon, breathless, talking fast. Noah, you need to hear what just happened. What? Marla showed up, full grieving widow mode, black dress, veil, the whole thing. She sat in the front row like nothing had happened. My stomach tightened. And Pastor Cole called an emergency meeting with the church board right after the service, in the fellowship hall, in front of at least 30 people. What did he say? He read parts of the audit, Noah. Not the whole thing, but enough. He said George had authorized an investigation before his death, and that the findings were serious. He didn't name Marla directly, but everyone knew who he was talking about. How did she react? She tried to cry, said your father was confused in his last months, that you'd turned him against her, that she was being persecuted for loving him. I closed my eyes. And then Mrs. Patterson stood up. What did she say? She said, Marla, I've seen the bank records. I was at the will reading. This isn't confusion. This is fraud. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. What did Marla do? She stood up and walked out. Didn't say another word. But Noah, by the time I left, half the congregation was talking. Everyone knows. Good. Good? She wanted a reputation, Aunt Linda. She built it on lies and manipulation. Now everyone knows the truth. Aunt Linda was quiet for a moment. Your father would be so proud of you. I hope so. That night, I got a call from Pastor Cole. Noah, I want to apologize. For what? For not seeing it sooner, for staying neutral when I should have spoken up. Marla used the church, used me, to build credibility, and I let her. You didn't know. I should have. Your father came to me once, about a year ago. He seemed troubled. I asked if everything was okay, and he said, "Just pray for Noah. Pray he knows how much I love him." I should have asked more questions. My throat tightened. He loved you, Noah, and he was protecting you the only way he knew how. Thank you, Pastor. If you need anything, a reference for clients, a character letter, anything, I'm here. I appreciate that. After we hung up, I sat in the dark, staring at the ceiling. The truth was out. The church knew. The clients knew. The community knew. Marla's reputation was gone, and for the first time since Dad died, I felt like I could breathe. By the end of the week, I'd met with all 12 of Bennett Property Maintenance's major clients. Some were phone calls. Some were in-person meetings at job sites. Every single one of them started the same way. "We're sorry about your father, Noah. He was a good man." And every single one of them asked the same question. "Are you keeping the business going?" I told them the truth. Yes. Frank Delgado and I are running operations. Same quality, same reliability, same standards my dad built. Most of them didn't hesitate. Then we're staying. One client, a commercial property manager named Helen Winters, pulled me aside after a meeting. "Noah, I'm going to be blunt. I heard about Marla, about the audit." I tensed. "And I just want you to know, your father came to me 6 months ago. Asked if I'd noticed any irregularities in our invoices. I hadn't, but he seemed worried. He said he was handling it, but he wanted to make sure his clients weren't affected." She paused. That's the kind of man he was. Even when he was dealing with betrayal, he was protecting everyone else. "Yeah," I said quietly. "That sounds like him. You're going to do great, Noah. I can tell." By Friday, every major client had confirmed they were staying. Frank clapped me on the shoulder when I told him, "Your dad built something solid, and now you're keeping it alive." "We're keeping it alive." He smiled. "Yeah, we are." 2 weeks after the will reading, I got a certified letter from a law firm in the next town over. Jennings and Holt, attorneys at Law Inside, was a formal demand letter on behalf of Marla Bennett. I sat in Walter's office while he read it aloud. "Mrs. Bennett claims that Bennett Property Maintenance constitutes marital property, and that she is entitled to 50% ownership based on sweat equity and unpaid labor contributions over 12 years of marriage." I stared at him. "She's claiming she built the business?" "Essentially, yes. She stole from it. Her lawyer is framing the withdrawals as reimbursements for unpaid work." I laughed. It wasn't funny. "Can she win?" Walter leaned back in his chair. "No. The prenuptial agreement is ironclad. She signed away any claim to business assets when she married your father. And the will is explicit. She has no legal standing. So this is just noise? This is desperation. She's trying to scare you into a settlement. She knows if this goes to court, everything becomes public record. The audit, your father's letter, the fake vendors, the personal account, all of it." He smiled, sharp. "She doesn't want that. So what do I do?" "Nothing. I'll draft a response, CC her lawyer, and politely remind them that the prenup exists and the will is binding. If they push, we'll file a motion to dismiss. But I don't think they will." "Why not?" "Because her lawyer knows she has no case. And if he's smart, he'll advise her to walk away." 18 days later, I got another letter. Same law firm, different tone. Notice of withdrawal. "Mrs. Marla Bennett has elected not to pursue further legal action regarding the estate of George Bennett at this time." That was it. No apology, no explanation. Just, "We're done." Frank cracked open a beer when I told him. "She's finished. For now." "No, Noah. She's done. Her reputation's destroyed. The church knows. The clients know. She has no leverage left." I wanted to believe him, but I knew Marla. And I knew she wasn't the type to go quietly. 3 weeks after the will reading, Marla posted on Facebook. I didn't see it at first. Aunt Linda sent me a screenshot at 8 in the morning with the message, "You need to see this." The post was long, emotional, accompanied by a photo of Marla and my dad on their wedding day, both smiling, looking happy. It read, "I'm heartbroken, not just because I lost my husband, the love of my life, but because I've lost my stepson to bitterness, greed, and lies." George and I built Bennett Property Maintenance together. I gave up my own career to support him. I managed the office, handled the books, kept everything running while he focused on the work he loved. I sacrificed everything for our family. And now, George's son, who barely visited, who abandoned his father when he needed support most, has taken everything. He's accused me of theft. He's destroyed my reputation. He's turned the church and this community against me, all because he wants money. I don't know how to fight this. I'm grieving, I'm alone, and I'm being treated like a criminal for the crime of loving my husband. If you've ever been betrayed by family, you understand. Please pray for me. The post had 70 comments. Most were supportive. Praying for you, Marla. Stay strong. Family can be so cruel. I'm so sorry. You deserve better. But buried in the middle, I saw one comment that made me pause. From Mrs. Patterson. Marla, I was at the will reading. I've seen the financial records. This post is manipulative and dishonest. George left a letter explaining his decisions. Perhaps you should share that part too. I stared at my phone, and then I made a choice. I was going to reply, publicly. I didn't write an essay. I didn't rant or attack. I just posted the truth. Marla, I'm going to say this once, publicly, so everyone can see. You're right that I didn't visit much in the last few years. That's because every time I did, you made it clear I wasn't welcome. You called me the kid from the first marriage. You made me eat in my room when you had guests. You erased every trace of my mother from the house without asking. At my father's funeral, you told me I was not family. In front of 50 people. You called me ungrateful. You said I was only there for money. But I didn't know there was money. I didn't know about the will. I didn't know Dad had changed anything. What I do know is this. 4 months before he died, Dad hired an independent auditor. That auditor, Walter Hughes, a licensed CPA with 20 years of experience, found $83,400 missing from the company over 2 years. Fake vendors, falsified invoices, forged receipts, transfers to a personal checking account in your name. Dad documented everything, and he wrote a letter in his own handwriting explaining what you did and why he changed his will to protect me. That letter was read aloud at the will reading, in front of my Aunt Linda, Pastor Cole, Frank Delgado, and 3 church board members. So no, Marla, this isn't about greed. This is about my father protecting his son from someone who spent 12 years pretending to love him while stealing from him. If you want sympathy, try honesty first. I hit post, and then I waited. Within an hour, the comments exploded. Aunt Linda, thank you for speaking the truth, Noah. Your father would be so proud. Frank Delgado, I was there. Every word Noah wrote is true. Mrs. Patterson, I can confirm. The will reading included a letter from George. It was heartbreaking and clear. Pastor Cole, I was present as well. George's intentions were documented and undeniable. And then other people started chiming in. A former coworker, I worked at Bennett Property Maintenance for 3 years. Marla treated Noah like garbage. We all saw it. A neighbor. I remember George telling me he wished Marla and Noah could get along. He sounded so sad. One of Dad's longtime clients, George Bennett, was a man of integrity. Noah is carrying that forward. I'm proud to keep working with Bennett Property Maintenance under his leadership. The tide shifted. Marla's post was still up, but the narrative had changed. 2 hours later, she deleted it. No response, no rebuttal, just gone. That night, Marla called again. I almost didn't answer. Almost sent it straight to voicemail like I had every other time, but something made me let it ring through. She didn't leave a message right away, just silence, like she was deciding whether to speak. And then, finally, her voice, quiet, tired, different than I'd ever heard it. Noah, I know you're not going to answer. I know you probably deleted this the second you saw my name, but I need to say something. I'm sorry. Not for the money. I'm not going to lie about that. I took it. I justified it in my head because I felt like I'd given up everything to be with your father. My career, my independence, and I didn't feel appreciated. But I'm sorry for how I treated you. You were just a kid when I married George, 16 years old, still grieving your mother, and instead of being kind, instead of making space for you, I saw you as competition, for George's attention, for his love, for his legacy, and I made you feel small because it made me feel bigger. I know that's not an excuse. I know it doesn't change anything, but I wanted you to know. Your dad loved you more than anything in this world, and I was jealous of that, because I knew, deep down, that he'd never love me the way he loved your mother, or you. So I tried to erase you, and I'm sorry. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to hear it. Goodbye, Noah. The voicemail ended. I sat there in the dark, phone in my hand, staring at nothing. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel vindicated. I just felt sad. Because at the end of the day, my father was gone, and no amount of justice or truth or accountability would bring him back. 6 months after my father's funeral, Bennett Property Maintenance was stable. We'd hired a full-time bookkeeper, a no-nonsense woman in her 50s named Diane, who color-coded everything and didn't tolerate shortcuts. We'd landed 3 new commercial contracts, 2 residential subdivisions had signed on for ongoing maintenance. Revenue was up 12% from the previous year. Frank and I ran the business together. He handled field operations and crew management. I handled client relations, contracts, and finances. I still did graphic design on the side, mostly for existing clients. Smaller projects I could finish on weekends. But Bennett property maintenance was my priority now, because it was my dad's legacy, and I wasn't going to let it die. Aunt Linda visited every Sunday. We'd sit in the office, Dad's old office, which I'd finally moved into, and drink coffee and talk. She told me stories I'd never heard, about Dad singing off-key in the truck, about how he cried the day I was born, holding me like I was the most precious thing in the world, about how he kept every drawing I ever made in a folder in his desk. I found that folder one day, buried in the back of a filing cabinet. Crayon drawings of houses, stick figure families, a lopsided truck labeled Dad's Work. I hung one in my office, a drawing of the two of us standing in front of a house, smiling. I'd drawn it when I was 7, and every time I looked at it, I remembered. He loved me. He saw me. He protected me, even when I didn't know I needed it. 3 months after the Facebook post, Marla left Riverside. I heard about it from Aunt Linda. She's gone, Noah. Gone where? No idea. She sold the condo she'd been renting, packed up everything, didn't leave a forwarding address. Did she say anything? Not to me. Pastor Cole said she stopped coming to church after that Sunday. Just vanished. I didn't feel relief. I didn't feel closure. I just felt nothing. She'd been a storm in my life for 12 years, and now she was gone, and the silence felt strange. A week later, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Postmarked from Phoenix, Arizona. Inside, a single sheet of lined paper, handwritten. Noah, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know something your father never told you. He talked about you constantly. Every week, every month. He'd mention a project you'd finished, a text you'd sent, something funny you'd said. He was so proud of you. And I hated that. Because I knew I'd never have that kind of relationship with him. So I tried to take it from you. I tried to make you smaller so I could feel bigger. And I'm sorry. I hope you build something good with what he left you. You deserve it. M. I folded the letter and put it in a drawer. I didn't respond. Didn't try to find her. Didn't reach out. But I didn't throw the letter away either. Because maybe, someday, I'd need to remember that even people who hurt you are still human. Broken. Lost. But human. It's been a year now since my father died. A year since Marla stood in front of 50 people and told me I wasn't family. A year since I sat in a conference room and heard my father's voice, recorded from beyond the grave, protecting me one last time. Bennett Property Maintenance is thriving. We're expanding, hiring. I'm working with a local trade school to create an apprenticeship program in my dad's name, teaching young people the skills he spent a lifetime mastering. The house on Maple Street is still mine. I moved in 6 months ago. It felt strange at first, walking through rooms that used to feel hostile. But I've been changing it, slowly, painting walls, replacing furniture. I found a box in the attic, the one Marla had packed away years ago. Photos of my mom, the bookshelf my dad built for her, a framed picture of the 3 of us at the beach, smiling. I hung that picture in the living room, because this is my house now, my home, and I get to decide what stays. I visit Dad's grave every month. I bring flowers, nothing fancy, just whatever's in season, and I sit on the grass and talk to him. I tell him about the business, about the new contracts, about the crew, about Frank. I tell him I'm okay, and I think he'd be proud. No, I know he'd be proud, because he told me, in a letter, in a video, in the choices he made when he knew he was running out of time. He saw me, he loved me, he protected me, and now I'm protecting what he built. Not because I have to, because I want to. Because legacy isn't just about what you inherit, it's about what you do with it. People ask me sometimes if I'm angry, at Marla, at the year she stole, at the damage she caused, and the truth is, I'm not. I'm sad. I'm tired. I wish things had been different, but I'm not angry, because anger keeps you tied to the past, and I have a future to build. Dad gave me that. Not just a business, not just a house, but permission to move forward, to set boundaries, to demand better from the people who claim to love me, to walk away from anyone who tries to make me small. And that's the real inheritance. So if you're watching this, and you've ever been told you're not family by someone who should have loved you, know this. Family isn't who shares your name. It's who shows up, who protects you, who fights for you even when they're gone. My dad did that. And because he did, I'm still here, still standing, still building, and I'm not going anywhere. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button. Drop a comment and tell me about a time someone tried to erase you and how you fought back. Subscribe if you want more stories like this. Real, raw, and proof that sometimes justice really does win. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Love doesn't manipulate. Love doesn't erase. Love doesn't make you feel small to make someone else feel big. And when someone shows you who they really are, when they call you not family in front of everyone, believe them. Set your boundaries. Protect your peace. Walk away if you have to. And trust that the people who truly love you will fight for you, even from beyond the grave. Legacy isn't just what you're given. It's what you choose to build with it. If this story meant something to you, please hit that like button and leave a comment. Tell me your story. Have you ever had to fight for something that was always yours? Have you ever been erased by someone who claimed to love your family? I read every comment, and your stories matter. And if you want another deep dive into family betrayal, justice, and public reckoning, check out the video I'm dropping next week. Links in the description. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one.